This is part 34 of my series of videos about my romance novel collection, and I'm going to pick up where I left off in part 33, which unfortunately ended rather abruptly because my memory card ran out of space. But you won't have missed anything, because I'll pick up right where I left off in the other one. And I'll just adjust this here, and we'll look at this one. This is Tempted by Virginia Henley. This is the one I started to show at the end of the other video. And there's the step back for it. This one came out from Island Books, which I think is an imprint of Dell, yes. And this one came out in 1993. In my previous video, I made a mistake when I was talking about the number lines. If the number is missing, say if it just started with a 2, that means it's the second printing. I got a little mixed up when I was talking about some of the other ones. There's a picture of Virginia Henley, and this one has like a bookmark that you can tear off if you really want to. A lot of times back in those days, back in the 80s and 90s, readers would write to the romance authors and receive a bookmark from them. It became a sort of fad. And also in my previous video, I had showed this book, and it was kind of messed up on the back page, and I said I was going to cut it. So I very carefully, using a paper cutter, a trimmer, I cut the edge there. It's a little ragged, but I wanted to be careful not to cut any closer than that, because I didn't want to wreck the cover. So that one got done. Here's a Connie Mason, looks like medieval romance, The Dragon Lord. Here's the step back. This is from Leisure Books. Look at all her leisure books from Connie Mason. And this one's from 2001. Kinley McGregor, who I'm not familiar with at all, but I have a couple of her books actually that I gotten recently, but I'm not going to keep. I kind of flip through. Sometimes I'll flip through a book, and I'll look at the first page and the first page or two, and if it just doesn't grab me, then I decide, oh, that's one I'm going to get rid of. But this one had a cool cover. It's about a pirate, which I always like pirate stories. And this one I think is from 2000 or so. Let's see here. In 1999, but it went through a few printings. So this particular Avon Books printing is 2005. Anyway, Christina Dodd. This is another one I think went through a few printings. Castles in the Air, also from Avon Books. There's some more of her books there. Someone else wrote, the original owner wrote 2010 on there. This is from 1993 originally, but this particular edition looks like it's from 2001. Lynn Kirkland, who I don't know anything about. And again, it looks like a medieval romance. From Berkeley Books, from the year 2000. I have a couple books here by Elaine Kaufman. Again, it's a writer I'm not familiar with. The Bride of Black Douglas. There's the step back on that one. From Mira Books, which is Harlequin's imprint, from the year 2000. The Fifth Daughter. There's a step back on that one. Also from Mira, 2001. And The Highlander, also from Mira, and 2003. And here's two from Hannah Howell, Highland Lover and Highland Barbarian. These are from Zebra Books. It looks like, again, like a medieval type romance. This is 2006. I think this is probably December 2006, yes. So imagine having 2 books in 1 year. And we'll show some more here. Now here are some Lisa Kleypas books. I forgot to look this up before I started this video, but this one looks like according to what she says, a very early one. It might even be her first, or if not, her second. It says copyright 1988, although this edition is from 2011. And she has a little introduction there saying she was in her early 20s when she wrote it. And this is Prince of Dreams and Because You're Mine. These are from the mid-90s, I think. There's a step back on that. These are from Avon Books. I got these at a Goodwill store that sells paperbacks for like $1.29 or something like that, which is kind of high for an old paperback. But these were in such nice condition, and they look so cool. And they like Lisa Kleypas's writing, especially for 1990s stuff. So I had to get them. Now here's some more Lisa Kleypas. These are later, more recent editions of some books. Let's see here. See, it says 2003, but you can see it says excerpt from a more recent book, 2015. So, you know, someone looking at this might think, oh, this is from 2003, but it's not. It's from 2015 because it's advertising the more recent book. That's probably a similar situation with this one. So this says 2007, but it doesn't say. Again, it has one of those number line things, so this would be the 10th edition, or 10th printing of it. And these are some more recent historical romance novels. Galen Foley. I've read one of her books and liked it. And Tessa Dare. I liked one of hers. I've read one of hers and liked it as well. 2010 on this one. Tessa Dare. It is more of a humorous and entertaining style. Sarah McLean novel, which has the price on it. There's the step back. 11 Scandals to Start to Win a Duke's Heart. 2011 on that one. Eloisa James. This is a recent one that she did. Say Yes to the Duke from 2020, last year. And these are three that I don't know anything about the writers. I've heard the names, but I don't know anything about them. Liz Carlisle, Sophie Jordan, Maya Rodell. And these are more recent books. 2011. Well, it's not that recent, but this one looks recent. I bought this yesterday, actually, at a Value World for 75 cents, I think it was. So again, those are kind of on the high end. This is 2016. And this one is 2020. And we'll get some more here. Alright, so here's Anna Harrington's An Inconvenient Duke. I seem to recall seeing this one on the shelf, so I think it was pretty recent. 2020, yeah, last year. And Lindsay Sands. I read one of her books. I wasn't that crazy about it. It was all right, but it seemed a little dark. But my favorite things is a collection of short stories, I believe, or yeah, some novellas that she had written earlier. So this edition is from 2019, it looks like. Here's a Harlequin Nocturne, which was a category romance devoted to paranormal romance. And this is book number 183 from 2014. Has a cool cover there. There's the various books by the author. The 5th Alpha Force novel. So this is part of a series called Alpha Force. Now I got a whole bunch of Janine Frost Night Huntress novels at a Salvation Army for 50 cents each. These are very well read. The spines are all creased. And the original owner had put the numbers up in the corner. So this is the first one, Halfway to the Grave. This is One Foot in the Grave. Again, she put number 2 on it. Let's see what years these are. This is 2008, although it's a 13th printing. This one doesn't have the number, but this is book 3. I had bought this at a different thrift store. I had bought it at that Goodwill one that sells books for $1.29. I just thought it was a cool cover. Oops, a little glare there in it. There's a step back. Paranormal was really popular around that time, so you have a lot of you know, things like Harlequin eventually canceled their Harlequin Nocturne line. That's book number 4. Book number 5 of the Night Huntress line, or series rather. Let's see if there's a step back there. There we go. Book number 6. Another step back. Let's see where we're at here. This is 2011. This one doesn't have a number, but I think I'm missing 2. Like there's, no, this is book number 6. There should be 7 and 8. I think this is book number 9. Because there's a list of them on the inside here. And it starts from the book number 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. So I'm missing Once Burned and Twice Tempted. And then this is book number 9. Now she also wrote other series. And this one's a Broken Destiny novel. This is from Harlequin. Those other books were from Avon Books. By Janine Frost. This is from 2014. All right, we'll look at some. Speaking of Harlequin, I'm currently reading a Harlequin book. I haven't done much reading for the past 2 months. Around September, I kind of had to stop because I had some other stuff going on. So I started reading this thin, less than 200 pages category romance novel from 1991. I should have finished it long ago, but I started it, read about 24 pages, then back in September I had to stop. I just a couple days ago started reading again because I had more free time. And so I was able to pick up from page 24 and didn't have to go back and reread what I had already read. But I'm still only on page 126. So I hopefully will finish this soon and then write a review on Goodreads. I started out liking the book more when at the beginning of the book, like the first half is really good. The 2 characters have a kind of antagonistic relationship with each other. So it's kind of like, how are these 2 going to end up together? But as the book goes on, of course, you see that's going to happen. In fact, he's engaged to somebody else. But it all works out for the best, I think. This is a Harlequin intrigue, book number 61 from 1987. I always like them. They always have like a secondary image right there, so that's like the setting. Now, I had showed this book in a previous video. This is a love-inspired suspense from 2019, I think. Yes, 2019. And I showed that I've had this for years. But I recently got the sequel, which came out like a few months later. Covert Christmas Twin. I've only read about maybe 20, 30 pages of this one. So when I saw this, it was actually at the library. Fill a bag for $1. A local library has a fill a bag for $1 thing. So I was like, oh, I got the sequel. Might as well get both of them. And here was a book I got, a medical romance, Harlequin medical romance, from, was book number 552 from 2012, it says there. So this is their medical romance line. A lot of these are by British authors. And so it's from 2012. I have 2 Lindsay McKenna books here. This one is from 1985, I think, but it's actually, it wasn't released in 85. This is like a later edition of it. Western Lovers. And this one I think is from 2010. Let's see here. Yep, 2010. The second book in a series. These books both came out in 2021, but they are, again, reprints from Harlequin of older books. Linda L. Miller, and then there's a bonus story, which I think is also a reprint from B.J. Daniels, who writes like romantic suspense. And then this is in the Mass Max format. It's a little bigger. I like this format. It also has a story by Brenda Jackson, but they're both old stories, I think from the 90s or 2000s. This was a book by Grace Livingston Hill, who wrote inspirational romance. And this one, originally, her novel came out in 1913, so it's really old. But this edition looks like it's from 1993. So, normally I'm not into Grace Livingston Hill, who's a very popular writer, but it's so old, 1913, I thought I ought to check it out. This book I got out of the free box at a local bookstore. Scruples from 1978 by Judith Krantz. This is probably not an original edition. Well, it says first printing May 1979. That's when the paperback edition came out. It looks like this is the 5th printing of the paperback. From Steve Krantz Productions, For Steve With All My Love. I don't know much about Judith Krantz, but I assume that's like her husband. Anyways, this was a popular book that sort of set off the mini-series romance, not so much romance, but sort of the glitz and glamour lifestyle women's fiction of the late 70s into the 1980s, really dominating the 1980s. Here are also two, speaking of women's fiction, two early books by Danielle Steele. They have this old 1980s style. She's these are printed by Dell, and she's still printed by Dell, actually. See, this is 2 previous editions. This new edition is for 1985, but the book originally came out in 1980. I'm not a fan of Danielle Steele's writing style. I've read one of her books, and it was okay, but the writing style, the info dump writing style really bothered me. You have to be in the right mood, I think, to read Danielle Steele, although some people, really like her. This from, excuse me, New Dell edition 1986, but then it's like the 4th edition of that. But originally came out in 1983. And it starts out with a poem, a little illustration there, and so on. It's a really thick one. It's like an epic. Let's see if there's another picture of Danielle Steele on the back of that one. Yep. And finally, one more Danielle Steele. No Greater Love. This is a newer edition of this book. Look at all the books. Again, from Dell Books. Originally came out in 1991, but this is a 2020 edition of printing. I remember No Greater Love back in the 90s. I think it was the 90s. Kelly Rutherford, the actress Kelly Rutherford, was in it was like a TV movie adaptation of No Greater Love, which takes place on the Titanic, I guess. I vaguely remember. In fact, I have it on VHS somewhere. But not that I taped it. I think my sister or my mom, wanted it taped off TV for some reason. So I still have the VHS somewhere. Anyways, there's a picture of Danielle Steele on the back cover there. So that's why I got this one. I'm normally not into Danielle Steele, but I thought, well, I remember that from back in the day, so I might as well get it. So anyways, that's my video for my latest video. I'll have another one coming up pretty soon, because maybe an unboxing video, because I have a package that's coming later this week or maybe next week, so of some old vintage romance. So maybe I'll do an unboxing video of that one when it shows up. All right, thanks for watching.